We're less than 100 days from the general election, and Idaho's county clerks are working to ensure accessibility, accuracy, and safety at the polls. And of course, our Madeline White reports, Idaho officials are planning to offer both absentee as well as in-person voting in the November 3rd election.
Both options for voting on the table, even though, as I previously reported, officials say absentee voting should not be cause for concern of fraud in the state of Idaho, and even though one local clerk tells us absentee-only elections like we had in May have not proven to suppress voter turnout locally.
Idaho saw its highest turnout in terms of total voters ever in our last primary, where we did it all via the mail.
But the Chief Deputy Secretary of State says he surveyed clerks from counties across the Gem State.
The question comes down to what is the right fit for the situation.
And found about 75% of them reported feeling comfortable hosting polling places in November. I also surveyed social media users on Idaho Facebook groups, and of the 167 people who replied with a clear preference, 83% of them said they're in favor of in-person polling places remaining an option. One user, for example, saying she doesn't trust voting by absentee. Another saying she's shocked they're going to allow in-person voting, even though the elephant in the room is this: Idaho's coronavirus curve swooping drastically upwards since that May primary.
We still want to make the availability as much as possible. We want to make it where they have the option of that physical polling location, because some people just, quite frankly, prefer to cast a physical ballot.
Now, this doesn't necessarily mean polling places will be as crowded as years past.
We're going to probably see 4 times as many people just on what's already been requested that are going to have absentee ballots in their hands prior to the November election.
Chad says they're urging absentee voters to submit their votes early so as to mitigate foot traffic at the polls, plus these precautions.
We're partnering with Anheuser-Busch. They're providing hand sanitizer for all of our counties. We're advising county clerks on CDC guidelines.
Still, he encourages absentee voting.
We want to drive people and advocate people to utilize the absentee ballot if they feel that that's what they want to do.
The clerk of Idaho's most populous county, Ada, saying he feels he can handle the hybrid situation, but is hoping for a little more support. In my next report in this election series, I'll be diving into the health and safety of poll workers and how officials plan to mitigate threat of transmission to that group, which is typically composed of folks in the senior demographic. Madeline White, Idaho News 6.
And you can register to vote at idahovotes.gov. And if you've moved recently, you'll likely need to re-register. We should know the election is one of the topical or possible topics of discussion when the legislature reconvenes for a special session later this month.